Could you honestly imagine blowing out 250 candles on your birthday cake? I mean, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But what if the science to actually get us there is closer than any of us think? Today, we're going to dive deep into the real research behind those crazy headlines about radical life extension.
So take a look at this claim. This comes from Dr. Ibrahim Wada, a medical expert, who argues that all the advances we're seeing in genetics and medical tech, well, they're about to completely redefine what a human lifespan even is. For him, living to 250 isn't some far-off fantasy. He sees it as a reality that's just around the corner.
Okay, that is a massive claim, and it raises an even bigger question. Are we just talking about wishful thinking here, or is there some solid biological foundation for this kind of incredible longevity? To figure that out, we have to peel back the headline, get into the lab, and look at the actual machinery of aging inside our very own cells.
So at its core, you can really think of aging as just a massive maintenance challenge. As the years tick by, our cells start to struggle to keep things clean and tidy. You know, it's kind of like a city where the sanitation department is slowly but surely falling behind on the job. Now, the scientific name for all this cellular maintenance is proteostasis. And it's basically the entire quality control network for the proteins inside our cells. It's the system that makes sure they're built correctly, folded into just the right shapes, and, this is the most important part for our story, disposed of when they get damaged or old.
And this is where the trouble really starts. As we get older, our proteostasis network just gets less efficient. Damaged proteins don't get cleared away like they used to, and they start to pile up. This buildup of, well, cellular garbage is a key hallmark of aging, and it's directly linked to a ton of age-related diseases. So, how is the body supposed to handle this garbage problem? Well, it turns out our cells aren't helpless at all. They have this highly sophisticated, totally specialized crew that's dedicated to one thing: taking out that protein trash. This whole operation is called the Ubiquitin-Proteasome system, or UPS for short. And it works in 3 really elegant steps. First, an old or damaged protein gets a little molecular kick-me sign stuck to it, a tag called ubiquitin. Second, that tag acts like a shipping label, directing the protein to the cell's recycling center, which is a structure called the proteasome. And finally, the proteasome acts like a wood chipper, just shredding that protein down into its basic components, which the cell can then turn around and reuse. Pretty smart, huh? This diagram really shows you the beautiful complexity behind those simple steps. You can actually see the target protein getting tagged by that chain of ubiquitin molecules right before it gets fed into the proteasome at the bottom to be completely dismantled. It's just this incredibly elegant and efficient process that's happening constantly, right now, inside every single one of our cells. Okay, so if we have this amazing cleanup system, why do things ever go wrong? Why does all this cellular garbage build up in diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's? Well, it turns out there's a natural break that's built right into the system. The real problem kicks in when the amount of damaged protein just completely overwhelms the UPS's ability to clear it out. It's a system failure, and in the brain, this can be absolutely catastrophic. See, neurons don't divide, so they can't dilute this toxic trash. Instead, it just builds up and up into these protein clumps or aggregates, which are the telltale signs of so many devastating neurodegenerative diseases. And you can see this exact connection in several major diseases. With Alzheimer's, it's the buildup of amyloid beta and tau proteins. For Parkinson's, it's a protein called alpha-synuclein. And in Huntington's, it's a mutant form of the Huntington protein. See the pattern? It's different garbage, but it's the exact same underlying problem. The cleanup crew is just overwhelmed.
So, scientists started investigating this whole process, and they found a key player. It's an enzyme called USP14, and it's attached directly to the proteasome. But what it does is kind of counterintuitive. It actually slows things down. It acts as a natural brake. Now, you might be asking, why on earth would a cell want to brake on its own cleanup crew? Well, breaking down proteins takes a lot of energy, so this might just be an evolutionary failsafe to conserve resources when the cell is otherwise healthy.
But of course, the second you discover a brake, it sparks a brand new idea. What if you could take your foot off of it? What if you could just release that brake and let the cleanup crew run at full speed, especially in cells that are getting totally overwhelmed?
And that is exactly what researchers set out to do. They did something called a high-throughput screen, basically testing thousands and thousands of compounds, and they found one. A small molecule compound they named IU1, and its specific job is to block the activity of USP14, to effectively release the brake on the proteasome. And the results? They were absolutely striking. This image here, it's called an immunoblot, and it shows the proof. See those dark bands? They represent the amount of tau protein. Yep, the one linked to Alzheimer's. As the cells get treated with more and more IU1, you can see the level of tau protein just drops significantly. This is showing us clear as day that IU1 helps the cell clear out that specific cellular garbage much faster.
So what does this all mean? Well, the implications here are huge. Lab studies show that by blocking that USP14 break, IU1 doesn't just clear out one type of protein. It speeds up the removal of all sorts of cellular junk, it boosts the proteasome's overall activity, and it makes cells way more resilient to stress. It's like giving the entire cellular cleanup crew a massive upgrade.
All of this incredible science, targeting the very foundation of how our cells decay, brings us right back to where we started, that idea of living to 250. But it also forces us to ask a more nuanced question. Is simply living longer the only thing that really matters?
And this is where we need to talk about two really critical but different ideas. Lifespan. That's simple. It's the total number of years you're alive. But health span, well, that's arguably way more important. That's the number of years you live in good health, with full function, and free from all those diseases that so often come with old age.
Longevity expert S.J. Olshansky makes a really powerful argument here. He says that, in a lot of ways, we've already won the battle for lifespan. I mean, think about it. A century ago, just surviving childhood was a huge hurdle. Today, living into our 80s is pretty common. The next great frontier isn't just about tacking on more years, it's about improving the quality of those years.
And so that leaves us with the ultimate question. As we develop these incredibly powerful technologies, like IU1 that can actually intervene in the fundamental biology of aging, what are we really aiming for? Is the goal just a 250-year lifespan? Or is it to make sure that the lifespan we already have is as healthy, as vibrant, and as free of disease as it can possibly be? The science is pushing forward, and pretty soon we're all going to have to decide what victory really looks like.